Now for more on the preparations to ensure Canada Day celebrations go off smoothly. Former Ottawa Police Chief Charles Bordeleau. I spoke with him a bit earlier about what he sees being put in place to avoid a repeat of last winter's convoy protests. Good to see you, as always. Thank you for making the time for this.
My pleasure.
Let me start off by asking a little bit about what's going on around us right now. What sticks out to you as far as the police presence and the sort of operational preparedness strategy here?
Well, for Canada Day, first of all, you wouldn't see this presence until July 1st, actually early in the morning. So here we are the day before, and they started actually 2 days ago in creating the exclusionary zone and having a very large physical presence of police officers, parliamentary precinct, and bylaw officers as well. And what I also see here is a large presence of tow trucks and some vehicles being removed that are not supposed to be here. So a lot more activity than any traditional Canada Day would take place ahead of time.
And if we think back to the original convoy, the original occupation, like the big problem was that everyone was allowed to get in here prior to any sort of barricades being set up. It's obviously a different story this time around. I mean, this whole stretch really, right up and down Wellington for a number of kilometers or kilometers is blocked right off. How significant do you think that will be?
That's a huge lesson learned in ensuring that vehicles do not access the zone that they've interdicted them from being in order to not allow them to set up shop. So that's a big step in doing and having demonstrated resources on site, like the tow trucks, the bylaw officers, and ticketing and removing vehicles right away. So they're sending a clear message that whatever happened in February will not happen again this time.
And what is your level of confidence that will be the case, and what does it depend on besides just sort of the messages they've sent already and the barricades that they have in place in the present?
Well, before it was all talk and no real action. I'm seeing the opposite now. They're very clear in their messages, and they're putting boots on the ground. They have officers from different jurisdictions. They're towing vehicles, and they're actually putting action into the words that they're saying. So far so good. So I think now it's to see, okay, once the influx of crowds start coming in, will they be able to maintain that momentum and also continue setting that tone that we're here for a celebration and we want you to celebrate safely, and those who choose not to celebrate safely will be dealt with accordingly.
I wonder how difficult you think it will be to kind of tread that line, right? Because I've been here for Canada Day. Sometimes it gets rowdy, right? How difficult might it be to discern between, people who are just getting a bit rowdy and then people who are here with ulterior motives?
I think they have a number of officers on the ground. The other thing is there are a number of people that are excluded from coming here based on some conditions. So they'll be watching for those individuals, and if they see them here, they will arrest them and they will breach them and lay criminal charges. So it is a balancing act to ensure that people are celebrating, people are allowed to demonstrate as per their democratic rights and freedoms, but to deal with those individuals who are here to disrupt and to cause harm. So they will be focusing on those behaviors that they're observing and dealing with those individuals who are here for nefarious reasons.
You spent so many years in law enforcement, and I know you lived through those 3 weeks as well. On a day like Canada Day, an experience that we expect will happen over the next few days, how high are the stakes for law enforcement, but also for even like the municipal politicians here?
Well, I think for law enforcement, the stakes are high because of what happened in February, and they understand what the community went through, and they do not want to go through that again. So they're very well prepared now. They're executing their plans as far as we can see so far. So the stakes are high because you look at the public trusting police, that was damaged. So they want to be able to restore that. And they did some significant work in when Rolling Thunder came in. They managed that very well. And they also managed the last 3 days of the demonstration extremely well as well. Now, from a municipal perspective, this is Ottawa, this is the nation's capital, and we've been able to celebrate safely for years. So they want to restore that sense of safety and sense of celebration as much as they can, recognizing also that there's an undercurrent of individuals who want to disrupt and who want to demonstrate quite vocally.
They're also politically motivated, right? And they are certainly, they have, targeted the Prime Minister specifically. You can see the writing on there, the flags they wear, etc. They're even targeting the government writ large in some instances. How, from the perspective of security, when it comes to the Prime Minister attending Canada Day events, the Governor General, how much of a worry is that, do you think?
Well, we've always had the undercurrent of a threat in existence for VIPs who attend, including the Prime Minister, the Governor General. So that is always part of the planning process. But what we do know now is that there's a really obvious undercurrent of individuals who are bent on disrupting individuals and who will go to several extents to demonstrate their displeasure with government. So there are those individuals in that undercurrent. They're starting to be known to law enforcement. They're going to be monitoring them. And the key is to ensure that they arrest them or deal with them if they cross that line to start disrupting the celebrations.
Do you anticipate the security, for example, around the Prime Minister would be at a higher level than past events?
I think they take everything in consideration. The Prime Minister's security detail, they look at the potential threats. I'm not privy to any intelligence reports, but certainly I think you'll see an increased presence of police officers across the board in the area. We're seeing it today. You're seeing it at all the checkpoints as far as the zones coming in. And I would expect that they've reached out to the RCMP, the OPP, other police services across Canada to come here to make sure that people can celebrate safely.
Just before I let you go, just one final question on, I think, thinking about people who live in this city or elsewhere, the idea that every few months you're talking about the possibility of this happening. What do you think about that? And, picturing yourself in your previous position, what might that mean for police or the person who occupies it now?
I can certainly appreciate from the community and the residents' perspective and the businesses what they went through during February, and they do not want to live through that terrible experience again. And police get that, they understand it, they heard that very loud and clear. The challenge is that if they're going to do this every couple of weekends and really demonstrate in numbers and being very vocal and cause disruption, that is a challenge from a sustainability perspective, from a policing perspective. You can't continue to draw upon the RCMP, the OPP, and other municipals because they have their own challenges that they're dealing with in their own communities. So, police in Ottawa and in the region are going to have to sit down and figure out how are they going to manage this on a go-forward basis. Is the model right? Do they need to change how they actually staff this? I know there's talk about closing Wellington Street and making all this part of the parliamentary precinct. Those are good discussions to have, but they need to sit down to figure this out as far as if this is the normal types of demonstrations that we're going to experience for the foreseeable future. They got to figure out how they're going to sustain and keep everybody safe.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Mr. Bordeleau, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Pleasure to have you back. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.